Hi everyone. Today we're going to do a couple of these problems that deal with multiplying and dividing rational expressions advanced. These are the more advanced problems, so they may be a little bit more involved in terms of factoring and manipulating the polynomials, but still they are doable, so let's begin. Okay. First off, they want us to divide the following rational expression and simplify. So the first thing I'm going to do again is I am going to do my keep change flip, right? If you recall the steps. So the keep change flip, right? For divisions, right? That's only for divisions. And then we have our factoring, right? And then we have our canceling, right? And then we have finally multiplying across. Okay? So let's start with the keep change flip. So we're going to have, and I'm going to write that up here. Okay, so x to the fourth minus 625 over, and while I'm at it, I'm just going to rewrite this in standard form. So x squared plus 10x plus 25. And instead of dividing, now it's multiply. And then we're going to flip this whole thing. So negative 8x minus 40 over 7x squared minus 37x plus 10. Okay, so that was our keep change flip. Now let's factor. Okay, I'm going to factor in a different color here. So let's factor. We're going to have, now this is a perfect, this is a perfect square, correct? It's x squared squared. So this thing is really x squared squared. So it is a perfect square. All right, and this thing, this 625 is 25 squared. So that's a perfect square. So if that's the case, then we're going to have x squared plus 25. And then we would have x squared minus 25 here. But I know that x squared minus 25 is a difference of two squares again. So I'm going to break that down even further. So x squared minus 25, I can keep breaking down into x plus 5 and x minus 5. Okay? And now let's factor the bottom. We're going to have, so this here is 25, so it's 5 and 5, right? That's a perfect square trinomial. So x plus 5 times x plus 5. All right? And now, here, I know that 8 goes into 45 times, so I'm going to factor out a negative 8, right? So that I keep my x positive. So if I factor out a negative 8, my x is positive, and that gives me x plus 5, right? All right. All over. Now on this one, this has a leading coefficient of 7. So you can do borrow and pay back, all right? Or you can use guess and check. So either method will work, borrow and pay back or guess and check. All right? I'm going to use guess and check here and see how well I do it. So I'll do it on the side here. So if I use guess and check, I'm going to say, okay, let's guess. Well, it's 7x squared. So my factors might be 7x and x, correct? Now, in the back part, I have 10. So it could be 10 and 1, or it could be 5 and 2, right? Well, if I'm going to use 5 and 2 here. I'm going to use 5 over here, and I'm going to use 2 over here. And the reason being is that I need to have minus 37x as the middle term. That's the sum of the inner and the outer, right? So if I do 7x times 5, well, that's going to be 35, right? And then 2 times x is 2x. So I'm going to get 37x, right? So these are both going to be negative. Okay, why? Because the product has to be positive, but the sum has to be negative. So if you do FOIL now, you'll get 7x squared for the first term, the positive 10 on the last, and then 7x times minus 7 is negative 35x, and negative 2 times x is negative 2x, right? So I will end up with that middle term of negative 37x, right? So let's put those in. 7x minus 2 times x minus 5. Okay, that takes care of my factoring. Now the fun part, right? The canceling. Now let's do the canceling. So again, any like factors, top and bottom, I can cancel out. And again, I can treat this as one big rational expression because it's a multiplication, right? Like that. So let's start from the beginning. This x plus 5 and that x plus 5, correct? This x plus 5 and that x plus 5 here. This x minus 5 with this x minus 5. And I think that's about it, right? So if we put these two together, that is the canceling part. So now if we multiply across, let's multiply across now, we're going to have negative 8 times x squared plus 25. Okay, unfortunately we can't factor this because it's an addition, not a subtraction, right? Over whatever's left on the bottom, which is 7x minus 2. Okay, so let's try putting that in. All right, so we just multiplied across. There's nothing else to cancel out here, right? So let's try typing in our final answer, and hopefully it'll work. Negative 8 times x squared plus 25. What is that? X squared plus 25. Okay. All over 7x minus 2. Okay, and let's check. And that is correct. Okay, our sound is a little low today. All right, guys? All right, let's try another one. Okay, so now here it looks like we have to solve for C. And again, we can do the same process here, right? We can do the same process of, again, keep, change, flip if it's a division, and then factoring, canceling, and then multiplying across. But this is an equation, so we're going to have to solve for C at the end. So let's just do everything that we're supposed to, like the other problems, but then at the end we have to get C by itself, and that's the only difference. So let's begin. So, first thing, keep, change, flip. No, you don't have to. So now let's do the factoring, canceling, and then of course the multiplying across, FCM, right? So we're going to factor the first one. So it looks like it's going to be z times z. 64. This is a perfect square, right? So it's 8 and 8, but they both have to give you negative 16 for the middle. So I believe it's going to be negatives for both, right? Like that. Over, and again, always write this as in standard form. So I'm going to take out a negative 5, right? Which leaves me with z minus 8. Right? Negative 5 times negative 8 is positive 40. Negative 5 times z is negative 5z. Okay. Times, now we don't know what c is, so we'll just leave it. And then factor the bottom here. So that's going to be, we're going to have z times z again. And then again here is 16, so I could do 8 and 2, right? Both negative. Negative 8 and negative 2. Because again, the sum of these have to give me the middle term, which is negative 10. So I think the factoring is done. Now let's do any canceling. All right, let's do some canceling. Can we cancel anything out here? And definitely we can, right? Z minus 8 z minus 8 here. Again, treat it as one big rational expression. Z minus 8 with z minus 8. All right? Oops. Not too far. Z minus 8. Okay. Now that is your canceling. And now let's multiply across. So we're going to have c over negative 5 times z minus 2 is equal to 1. All right? Now, to get c by itself, well, we can do one of two things. Depends on what's easier for you, right? I'm going to put that as 1 over 1. And the reason why I put it as 1 over 1, so that some people can immediately identify that you can do what? You can cross multiply, right? You can cross multiply this. Okay, why? Because it's a proportion, right? So when you have a proportion, you can try cross multiplying. So let's do that. So c, let me just highlight it for you. Okay, so it's going to be like this and like this, correct? So c times 1 is equal to, and then 1 times that, which is negative 5 times z minus 2. Okay? I don't know how that orange doesn't seem to be very bright, so I'm going to just change the color here. Let's change it to, okay, that color. And then, of course, that c is equal to, excuse me, you can just expand this if you want, right? It's negative 5z plus 10. Or you could just leave it like this. Either way, the answer should be correct. Let me erase that. That's very messy. There we go. Okay, so that should be our final answer, negative 5z plus 10. Let's try putting it in. So negative 5z plus 10. And that is correct. Okay, guys? All right, take care.